Good morning, everybody. How is everyone today? Manny, what's up? JT Robinson, hello, hello. Good morning. How's everybody doing on this Tuesday? Well, nice. Hugo, hello. Just got your setup ready for a stream later today. Very cool. Man, I'm gonna have to join your stream. Be sure you put that in the Discord. Yeah, how was everybody's weekend? For me, my parents just moved here, so we now have both sets of grandparents for the kids, and spent the weekend with them, and it was just awesome. Went and checked on the house. The plumbing is all installed, like all the rough-in stuff and the supply and waste is all in the foundation, so that was kind of exciting to see. And hopefully we'll get some concrete going. So yeah, right on. Hey, John. Good to see you over on YouTube. Cambia. Hello. You're a new face here, I believe. I haven't seen you in the chat. Yeah, JT, what are you going to be streaming later? Zach, what's up? How's office life, Zach? Is it better, worse, the same than working from home? Welcome. I had a monumentous thing happen in that I have completely filled a notebook, which is great. I'm super stoked. So it's time to pick a new notebook. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. You know, and I like these little Baron Fig soft cover. And I just like, before I was using moleskins, like the really thick ones, they were about that thick. And I never really liked using them because I could never finish the notebook. And these, there's a sense of accomplishment that comes from filling one. And usually I can finish a notebook in 3 or 4 months, you know? It's not that much, but I got these great portals from Baron Fig. Make it very easy to find them. Kaboom. I think I'm gonna go with the pink one. And it's important to pick the right one because you're gonna live with this for, you know, 3 or 4 months. See it every single day. Carry it everywhere. There's just like, you know, there's a sense of accomplishment when that comes from this. Oh no, this is a tragedy though. Check this out. So I'm a huge fan of, let me find something that's not like crazy. Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of the dot grid notebooks. Let's see if autofocus will work today. You can see these are all dot grid. And these are straight up sketch. Completely clean. That's no good. I'll work with it though. Prachi Gupta, hello. Has its ups and downs. You talking about working in the office? Yeah. Momi Rabble, get your mugs and fingers ready for the clickety clacks. We're about to work. Yeah, and I take it all the way to the last page. I can't show you this because it's notes from an interview, but I take the notebooks all the way to the final page, and it's just extremely satisfying. What is cool though is that I've got a bunch of sketches in here from the website project. You know, as we've been doing this together, like you've seen some of this stuff where I'm like wireframing out or just maybe thumbnailing different pages, and I'm gonna use this in the series. And also in maybe some of the series branding. So we're gonna be putting together a animated end screen for our trailer. You guys want to see a sneak peek of the trailer? It could be pretty cool. Let me know in the chat if you're into that, because I have a rough cut of the trailer that's here. Yeah? Okay. All right. Let me find it real quick. Gotta go into Slack. So we should be airing episodes at the end of the month. And it's going to be interesting for you guys to watch this thing because... Fine, Stuart. You've been along for the entire journey. You know what I mean? Like you've seen it as the progress, or as the project has progressed. Okay. All right, here's our, here we go. Now, this is, it's still kind of a rough cut, so, you know, it'll be fine. Looks good. All right, let's see. We'll do, matter of fact, get my face out of there. Here we go. You ready? Creativity without limits. Every designer's dream. Without a client hanging over your head, without a creative director's fingerprints on your screen, without the restrictions of a design system or brand guidelines. We long for this kind of freedom, this level of flexibility. The blank artboard beckons like the open road, and yet, somehow, it's also terrifying. Where do we go now? I'm on a journey to rethink, revamp, and redesign my personal website. It's the only project I have never finished, and I suspect I'm not the only one. It's time to get this built. This series is all about a raw, unfiltered look at the creative journey. Along the way, I'll be interviewing my friends, experts in their fields, and the people who simply know better than I. But also it's your humanity that comes across. You have a gentle spirit, you know, wrapped in that burly guy thing. I'm gonna get their take on the creative process and all the twists and turns it takes to build this thing. And where we'll end up? No idea. It might turn out great, but it might not. That's the adventure, that's the journey. Welcome to Built by Hand. Woo! So yeah, that's the trailer so far. I'm pretty pumped about it. We had to pull like a whole bunch of B-roll from other things, just because, you know, being here in South Carolina, it's like, you know, don't have a full production team, but like, man, I'm stoked because what you guys, the thing that you're not seeing is all the interviews that I'm like doing on the, you know, at night. So it's you're gonna get to hear from people like some of my design heroes, and you know, obviously you've seen Tim Ricks on the channel, so he's gonna be featured in the development episodes. But yeah, I'm stoked. I'm also crazy nervous about it too. So, but that's usually a good thing with me. That's usually a good thing. Yeah, let's see if I can not blow your eardrums away. There we go. Trailer's looking good. Oh, great. Thanks. Yeah, and it's just going to be on YouTube. So it's not anything paid or anything like that. It's just, it's going to be the series. It's going to show up on the future channel. Oh, right on. Well, cool, Mike. Mike's over on YouTube. He says, as someone putting together their first UX portfolio, the series is definitely going to be of interest. No Netflix? No, not yet. No Netflix. We did reach out. We actually made contact with somebody over at Netflix for building a brand, and it was a no-go. Or it just kind of fizzled out, really. Yeah. Coffee is out. Time for seltzer. Who's editing, Rick or Yadrona? Actually, neither. Stuart. Yeah, Stuart's our third editor that doesn't show up in front of the camera. All right. Today we're working with Good and Gather pomegranate dragon fruit, which so good. So good. Yeah, I moved to South Carolina in January. Wow, it's been 4 months already. Time for the self of the day. Yeah, they're editing viral videos. I don't know if you guys saw, but on the main future channel, we just hit something like 9 million views on one of our shorts. It's incredible. And I was watching the team. That's kind of outside my sphere of expertise. And I was watching the team put out these shorts, and none of them, like, we were getting the same amount of views, 10,000, 20,000 views. None of them really taking off until that one, man, the one on pricing, our last viral video that we did. Maybe not last, but like the original viral video that, really took our channel to the next level. And they did a cut down of that, and it has 9 million views. So they're really focused on that. Yeah. Welcome to the Beast Coast. Thanks. Personal websites, portfolios are the main cause of designers' anxiety. Well, that and clients, maybe. Yeah, I think that was Jonah, but I'm not really sure who edited that short. Did it get to their heads? No, not at all. Hey, Sam. Yeah. You really like the abstract series? I did too. I was a little disappointed that they focused so much on not actual graphic designers. I mean, design as a whole is pretty wide field, I guess. But like, they pretty much only focused on one true graphic designer. And there's so many people out there, so many unsung heroes that are doing incredible work that are just not getting the recognition that Paul Scher and some of the legends have achieved. So that's the only thing I was kind of disappointed in. Beast Carolinas, is that a reference to Mr. Beast? I have no idea. I think my favorite episode of the design of Abstract was the furniture one. Was her name Isla? That one was really, really neat. And then I absolutely wanted the lamp that they were talking about in that series, and I went and looked it up. Well, that thing is $1,700. Hey, good morning, Heather. And I was like, geez, no, that is not. Yeah. All right, what are we doing today? We are working on our full screen menu. So let me get this set up here. All right, so there's one problem that I don't know that we're going to be able to crack today. We're gonna talk about that. Right. So Zach, I know you're in the chat. If you did want to go live today and talk about the website, totally available. But I know that you're in the office, so you just let me know on Discord if you want to join the stream. Okay. Let me pull up our XD document. Share this here. All right. So this is what we're working on. We're working on our main nav. And what happens is when someone clicks the hamburger here, right, this little button, we want the entire website to be taken over by this full screen navigation. Now, this is the piece that I don't know that we're going to be able to solve today, because I need a lot of research and probably some help. Basically, I need to create this huge circle, and what I'd like to do is have this text be set dynamically so that it's actually red. And then on hover, what I want it to do is basically start rotating like this, so the user can read, see where I'm going. Now, this is an exported SVG, because one limitation of XD is that they can't do type on a path. So this is an actual image that I imported from Adobe Illustrator. And that's another way that we could do it, right? We could set the type in Illustrator, export an SVG, and then load it as an image that rotates. And that's probably the easier way. But the disadvantage there is as the circle increases and decreases in size, what I'm intimidated about is that the gap here, because what I want it to do is start rotating in like this, so you see the first word first. I'm worried that scaling it like this is going to change the type size too much, so that's going to screw up the legibility as this thing rotates into view. And it's not that big of a deal, but it's one of those things where like I feel like I do need to do some crazy research to get that in shape. And so for today, we're probably just going to like not worry about that part and focus on the main nav, how it folds out, how it interacts, some hover effects, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. What are you guys working on? Did you miss much? You were in surgery. Oh man, Sam, I hope you're all right. Are you in recovery? Those classic wood and leather office lounge chairs, they're like $4K for a decent one. Yeah. I had a Herman Miller in my office at Blind, and I just like stole it from one of the main areas. Okay, no problem, Zach. We'll do that later. Portfolio and case study today. Nice. Okay. Working on a new spread for a burger company. That's cool. Like a magazine spread, or like a aioli that you spread on a burger. Chief, right on. Following perfect complete case study steps. Very good. Writing a review of a trading indicator? Whoa, Hugo. I never knew. Heather working in Webflow. That's cool. Yeah, aioli. No, a brand deck. Yeah. Do more designs, whipping up some mayo. That could be cool as like some messaging for your positioning if you focus on food and bev. Whipping up that sweet aioli. All right, let's kind of break into Webflow here. So I started laying out the menu, and you can see I've got my page structure set up here. We've got home, we've got now, resources, content, projects, collab. And where we left off on page design, I think was the collab page. So we still have a bunch of work to do here that, we need the form built and stuff like that. So if we have time at the end, we might branch into that. But here's the menu. And I've put this on a separate page because my thought is to have the actual wrapper that contains this menu be its own symbol that we then put inside this nav symbol. There's a couple reasons for that. So when you're working with a full screen menu like we have on the Futures site, so we'll go the future.com. So how I did this is a full screen takeover. It's like a div that is fixed on top of everything. It's positioned absolute, but it's 100% width and 100% height. And in order to edit, or in order to see the rest of the page, you actually need to hide that full screen container, right? Because otherwise you wouldn't be able to see any of the content. So what you kind of have to do is, in order to be able to edit this page in the back end of Webflow, is set this to display none, or move it way out of the way so that you just can't see it and it doesn't block your view in the designer. And that causes some problems. And it causes some problems because whenever we go to edit the menu, we have to find the symbol, drop down the and find the wrapper, the right wrapper inside the nav symbol, and then change it to the display flex so that you can actually see it. And that whole process of hiding and then displaying the nav bar in order to edit causes some issues, because sometimes some people, me, forget to hide it back and then publish the site, and then all of a sudden all the users can see is this. Like literally they cannot see anything else. And so if I'm going to be editing my menu, what I want to do is have it as a separate symbol that's visible, and have that symbol on its own page so that I can just access it whenever, and then embed this inside of the nav bar symbol that I have here. I've never done that before, so I don't know if it's going to work, because there's some, we want to animate this as it goes in. But yeah, that's the goal, is to have at least one version of this where it's not completely hidden, so I don't have to show and hide it every time I edit it. So I know in WordPress, after giving the project to a customer, you can edit stuff in CMS, but how does it work in Webflow? Yes, there is a CMS built into Webflow, and it's awesome. I would say it's way better than WordPress for most uses. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but what is the font that you're using other than Stelvio? It's called Vultura, and Vultura has a specific outline version of the font. And so on this hover effect, what we're doing is swapping that out for Vultura outline, or I should say, we're going from the outline version of the font to the solid version of the font on hover. So normally you would do this with like border around the text, and the reason why I'm not doing that is because when I tried that here, go ahead and show you guys, it did not look as good. So obviously that's pretty chunky, but like, let's put a half pixel, maybe a pixel around that, and then we can compare this to the actual outlined version of the font, which, the type designer designed. So you can see there's pretty incredible differences here. Even if the weight is the same, like these thin parts of the letters tend to close in on the outline version, and I wanted to avoid that. So this is why I'm using, what the type designer designed, which is beautiful. Oh, another thing. I did not show you guys, but I will. Hold on. Before we actually get to work. It's like show and tell. I don't know. I actually added some noise thanks to another one of Tim Rick's tutorial, and it's looking pretty good. I don't know if you guys can tell, but like there's noise moving around in the background there. You can't see it in the designer. It needs to be published in order to see it, but looking pretty cool. Yeah, see, like there's some refinement. Like it should not cover these cards. The cards should show up on top. So we got some things to figure out, but pretty rad. And then of course, when we go dark mode, the noise disappears because it's literally black flecks that are animating all over the place. So got some work to do on that. But it was cool to see. It was literally just a copy and paste of some JavaScript, and it did it. Does Tim have a Webflow course? Not yet. We'll see when we get done with him. Yep. If you make the menu div in the interaction as hidden in the initial state, the menu will always be hidden even if you forget to hide it before publishing. That's a great tip. That is a great tip, Tariq. So he said over on YouTube, basically make sure that the interaction is hidden in the initial state of the interaction in Webflow. And then even if you forget, it'll always go back. It's pretty cool. ADN, I would recommend learning Webflow over WordPress right now. Especially if you're new to the HTML and CSS world, because you'll pick that up a lot faster, in my opinion, if you go Webflow first. Hey Christian, good to see you. Anything is better than WordPress. No, I think that WordPress has some utility, like e-commerce. If I really wanted to go full swing on e-commerce, I would go WordPress if Shopify wasn't an option. the plugins, the flexibility that you have, the integrations that you have with other platforms is great. But yeah, it is pretty clunky. And the sites are much slower than Webflow sites. Shopify is crazy good though. But sometimes it's not an option. Like sometimes, you know, you don't have an asset that knows Liquid. So customizing themes or building custom themes is kind of difficult. So that's why I'm like, you know, WordPress still has its place in the e-commerce world. Mustafa, added noise in pretty much the same colors as yours. Nice. Great minds. Great minds. All right, let's get back to the menu. All right. Okay. So I was working on this late last night, and where I left off was I added this image container here that has that's assigned to this menu item. So I wish I could, can I zoom in? There we go. Nice. All right, so if you notice here, I've got my 3-column layout, which basically just contains this to 3 columns. I've got my menu link list wrapper. So this is like the main wrapper for all these links. And then I've got my link block here, and inside the link block I have text and an image container. Now, this image container is positioned absolute, and it's over on this side here. None of these other menu link containers have this in there right now, but the idea is when you hover over, say now, this image will swap out. And I'm putting the image inside the link block because I think when I go to animate it, I'm going to have the interaction focused on this class, the menu link container. And then that way I can fade this in, or, you know, maybe it slides in or something like that when you hover over this, because you can target a child of this class. So the menu link container there. Hey, good to see you. Missed the first 30 minutes? We were just chatting. Just chatting. Chatty Cathy's. So I as you notice, I actually didn't use Webflow interactions to achieve these hover effects so far. And they're not great. So I actually just went and did a hover state and then added transitions here. And what it does is, number one, it switches the font from Vultura Outline to Vultura regular, I guess filled in, call it. It adds some padding here, and then it changes the text color. And I've got some good, you know, transitions here, right? I think it eases out. The one thing that I'm not like a huge fan of is that when you hover over it, there's a flash of black. So I don't know if you guys noticed that, but like the text switches to filled, it flashes black, and then it fades into orange. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't know if I want to change that right now. But since I'm doing a hover effect on the menu link container to control these images, you know, it's just one more thing that I can add. Ben over on YouTube says WordPress may be slow, but it entirely depends on the theme and how optimized things are. Yeah, again, if you know WordPress, it can be really great. But if you only partially know WordPress, it can be pretty nasty. Make the fill of the text black at 0%. You'll get rid of the flash. Well, let's see that. Let's see how that goes. I don't think you can do that, dude, because we're literally changing the font. It's not really a fill. It's not replacing it. It's literally changing this text font. So it converts the font over to the filled in version first, and or I guess at the same time as the color transition. So, but that's, you know, we can change that in interactions. Make the fill of the black text as 0%. I mean pink. So the initial state contains. I see what you guys are going with. Yeah, it's two different font variations. So when you go and make these transitions in effects, you can't stagger the transitions here. So that's why it's happening. So when it switches font faces, it's doing it at the same time as the color change, and so there's a little bit of a delay. We really could just like turn this down, you know, make it so fast that the eye can't really see it. And then what we could do is, you can kind of still see it though. You go really fast. Nobody's gonna do that, but yeah, the font has an outline version because it gets so thin at certain points that just like wrapping a stroke around it doesn't work. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out just to make sure I'm looking at the right resolution here. And I know you guys can't really read that, so I'm so sorry. Wish there was a way that we could just zoom this portion. All right. Okay, so we want to add an interaction to these link containers that changes this this image between these items. So what we need to do first is basically decide how we're going to animate this image in. Let's go ahead and take a look at one fight. So their menu is squad goals, seriously. So you can see they had kind of like a mask over the image initially, and then it kind of wiped off the screen. Let's do that one more time. Yeah, so it basically had something covering the image, and it gets wiped off the screen, and then they have this like weird wavy thing coming in, which I actually like, and I've done similar animations on the Now page. I think we'll probably do something similar. So go here. You know, I've done something like that where I've got these like wipes that the mask kind of like reveals the image. I kind of like that. So in order to do that, we need to add a div on top of the image that on load gets moved off. If I rebuild a website with that said font, the Vultura one, would that be all right? Yeah. Yeah. This is sold through Creative Market, and then the Stelvio Grotesque is sold through some agency website. I forget the actual type designer's name. But they're both pretty affordable. They're both under $100, which if you've ever bought typefaces before, it is not cheap. New link image mask. So we'll set this to absolute, and we'll set it to 100% width, 100% height. And we'll put the background color as green. Okay. I think we have like command fonts or something. Hey, do you remember what that command is? I think you set it up last time. All right, I think we've got all the elements that we need. We just need to make sure that this image container has overflow hidden, which it does. And yeah, all right. So we'll go ahead and add the hover effect to the link block itself. So we got a bunch of different classes here that probably came from copying and pasting our text links. So I'm going to delete that. We'll fix that at a different point. Okay, so we need a new animation. So we'll focus on the image first. And we want to set this initial state to hidden, I believe. So we'll hide that. And then we also want to set the initial opacity to 0. Right, so we just hid the entire container that has both the menu image and the image mask. And then on hover, so those are the initial states, we want to show it. So we'll display it. So it showed up there, but obviously it's still completely transparent. So we need to add an opacity change to this too. We'll have that start at the same point. Maybe go 3 seconds and then go maybe like out quart. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, so it's super subtle, but the entire thing kind of fades in. Let's see, what is this? Why do we have an error here? Okay. And then we'll move the image mask out of the way. I want it to go 100% to the right. Set that to 0.3 seconds and just go out quart for everything. Okay, it's not bad. Increase the timing on that and go in and out. There we go. I think we could probably change the image container. The color of this thing. Or the color of the mask. Let's go black. Just so we can actually see it working. Bit slower? Yeah, probably. Overslept today, running a bit late on everything. Well, welcome. Animating in Webflow is similar to Adobe XD. Kind of, not really. Adobe XD, the auto animate, like you have to take this the beginning state and then create the end state, and then it animates in between them, especially if you're using auto animate, which is kind of great. Webflow, you have a lot more control, but that means you also have like a lot more areas to mess up. All right, so I definitely don't like that black color there. And it does need to be a little bit slower. Only thing with hover effects is that it's not bad. What do you guys think? Should the mask be a separate color from the background? I've always kind of like went back and forth on that. Like, it's kind of nice to have something fade in. But the idea is that there's going to be an image already here, you know? So I'm not really sure. We need to add our cap on these on this font size here. I'm kind of thinking that's a little too slow. What we can do is, since there's going to be an image there already, maybe this opacity change is not even needed. You know, maybe we just need to set that to a 0-second delay so it doesn't actually animate. It just like, now you can see it. Like that. Okay, so I'm going to add this image container in all of the other links here so we can see how they work all together. So we obviously need to do our hover effect, and it's the same image, but that feels a little bit snappier. Double it. One overlay with background color on top of one overlay, which would be the light green over the final image. You know, I actually tried that where you have one mask kind of come in at a specific color, and then you have that mask basically like wiping out, if that's what you mean. It was just a lot going on. Like, it's like, man. Yeah, I kind of like it. I kind of like it. All right, let's do the hover out interaction, because we need to hide it again. All right, so that's hover. So on hover out, we're going to select start an animation, and then right here we've got menu link hover, which is the, you know, animation that we just created. I'm just going to duplicate this, and then when we duplicate it, see, obviously it's number 2, so we'll just add out. We have everything that we've done in the first one, so I can basically come in here and say, all right, so obviously these are not going to be in, you know, initial states anymore, because we're not going to reset the initial state on hover out. But we do need to move the mask back in, and then set the opacity to 0, and then hide it. Hide the actual wrapper. I'm thinking as I go. I hope you guys can tell. I hope that's all right. Steezy, I appreciate that. Thank you, and welcome to Twitch. Levi, thank you. Appreciate that. So it's too fast for you still? Okay. All right, we'll slow it down in a second. Okay, so basically what I'm thinking about now is that, we've moved that frame across and out of view. And what we don't want to do is have a frame come back into view as another frame is moving into view on top of it. So I think what I'll do is fade the opacity out to 0 and then hide the entire container and then move that thing back in. So it's not actually, you won't see the frame move back in, but it'll be there the next time you hover over it. I hope my karate chop stuff is effective. Okay, so we can delete that, we can delete this, and we've got our opacity. I'm gonna set that to 0. We'll have that go 8.3 seconds. And we want that to happen first, so we'll move our hide and show down here. And then you see we've got this link image mask, and we're moving it 100%. And there's the thing down there. So we just want to reset that back to 0 after everything's hidden. So let's see, we've got 0 seconds on that. We need 0 seconds on our move. And so it's pretty much reset. So we faded it out and then we hit it. Wait, did we hide it? Now we hit it. And now we can move our image mask back in. Let's see how that is. Oh, we didn't actually assign it. So on hover out, play that animation. Cool. All right, so I agree. It's a little fast and it tends to flash in between hovers. So let's see. Maybe if we take this opacity and just add a little, maybe 0.3. So I increase that frame move to like 0.7 seconds, which is crazy long, but let's see. And then on hover out, let's bump this up to like 0.4 seconds. Let's see how that is. What do you think? Better? Maybe having a background color pane coming from the left. That could be cool. What if there were an image under this that basically had, like, what if when we open the menu, it wasn't completely clean? And we had an image that was already positioned over, and on hover, we had that image fade to black or something like that. Let's try it. So I'll pull another image link container. This time I want to go outside. So by default, this mask, here we'll duplicate these classes so we're not ruining anything. So let's see, menu, image container. go image mask here instead of link image mask. And for this, we'll duplicate this and set to menu image. So we created a whole nother instance of this, and you can see, let's change this to the really dark green that we have. And by default, we'll set the opacity to 0. Reveal is nice, disappearing is weird. I agree. So right now what we're looking at is we've got this image, it's under everything. So I just moved it on top. And I'm wondering if on hover, we change this mask color to a black or something like that. So that way we can see the thing coming in and then also going out. Let's try that. So in this interaction, you can target siblings. Go ahead and add target to this mask. We'll say background color. Pick our dark green, black thing. All right, let's try that. Nope, that didn't work. Because we're not displaying it. So we need to increase our opacity. So we'll add that. Opacity is set to 100%. Whoa, no, that's weird. Yeah, that's really strange. Ooh, do you guys hear the thunder? We're having some great storms recently. I feel like Phyllis from The Office. Don't you just want to curl up with a good book? Ooh, no, that's rough. See, that's something like when you incorporate a third color in there, or I guess the second color, it gets really strange. All right, I'm removing that. Whoops. Okay, let's try one thing. I noticed that those animations, the opacity and the background color were not starting together, so we'll try that. No. Nope. Let's see how they've done it here. Yeah, it's just a subtle kind of like oil slick effect almost on the top of that image where it's like wavy. But then it just basically wipes away the part of the mask that conceals it, which I actually really like. And then on out, you close the menu, it brings the mask in from the same side. Or it actually, covers the image, but I think I have a couple of other examples of menus that I have in here. Let's take a look at these real quick. do that in between the hovers where you're taking the image, like the mask, once it moves away, maybe like once it moves off screen, you hide it completely, you move it over to a negative 100%, and then you wipe it back on. That could be kind of cool. Yeah. Okay. I think you're onto something there. Oh, these guys don't have an image in there, so we'll... No, you and me. Great minds. All right, so let's get rid of this and that. And we obviously need that image to be there when you open the menu, but we'll delete the mask out of there. Okay. So let's see, image mask moves. And then we want to add one more. We'll hide it. And then we'll move it to negative 100%. Set that to 0. And so now what we've done is we've animated the mask off, we've made it disappear, and then we've moved it over to the other side all in one fell swoop. So on hover out, that same mask can kind of come back in. So we'll do image container, image mask. Okay, so that's resetting it to 0. So what we need to do is move that up, actually add some duration to that so you can see it. And reset that to 0. All right, let's see if that works. So let's try it. I think that the next menu item's hover effect is covering up the hover out effect. Yeah, so this should be happening right here. It's a 5-second duration. But I think instantly when you go got lost in thought. So the whole container fades in, and then when you hover out, it does nothing. That's weird. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna swap this image out. It's default in here. Guys, if the storm knocks out internet, we'll reconvene at a later date, or maybe just later today, because it is coming down out there. All right, yeah, let's replace this image to something like that one. Yeah, something's not. East Coast is getting pounded this week, yeah. Oh, maybe we're not showing it again. It's funny, my girls are actually like super pumped about storms. Like normally kids are scared of thunderstorms. They're like thrilled about it. I don't think that we showed it after we hit it, right? So we hit it, we moved it, and then we forgot to show it again. That's what it was. So you don't see it. So we'll add that after here. Let's try that. All right, so that hover out works really nicely. It is a little slow though. Like it feels like it's, I don't know, sound effects. It just feels like it's like happening super sequentially and it doesn't feel organic to me. So let's see if we can tweak the timing here. Whenever I'm doing this, I always have to go back and like trace my steps to figure out where the gap is. So fade in, it wipes off. Fades in and wipes off. So I'm thinking it needs to fade in and then the wipe, which happens here. I'm thinking we need to start it at the same time. Let's try it. Whoa, that's trippy. All right, so it definitely needs some delay. BenMakesNoises.com. I watch Peter McKinnon sometimes, a little bit less lately, but he makes some crazy sound effects. All right, so I'm gonna add like a 0.2 second delay onto that to see if we can prevent that like that band that you notice here. Here we go. That's nice right there. The only issue that I'm seeing is that the hover out, or I guess when the bottom image shows through, it doesn't actually do the same kind of wipe. So like there, it just kind of like fades back in. So I think we do need a mask in that image. And then I'm thinking I'm gonna call this done. That hover effect. Do I want the bottom image? I kind of do. I don't know. Let's see it without it. But set that to display none. Now that you mention it, it kind of looks pretty good with no image there too. I don't know, is it balanced? Feels a little bit unbalanced to me. Intelligent Designs, I'm using Webflow. Well, let's leave it. We can always add it back later. It's just display none for now. But I do want to try one thing, which is adding the mask back in and then kind of like wiping that on and off as well. Just make it a color, like a slightly darker cream where the image would reveal. So you have the cut and the layout. So it's like dividing line. Yeah. Okay, let's try that. So we'll go display. Let's see. We'll just do, I think we're displaying this image mask. Hide that and just set this container's background to that gray-green that we've been using. It's kind of like that. That doesn't feel right. Yeah, just something's wrong there. All right, let's go. Let's try if we wiped back to an image. Link image mask, all that good stuff. Okay, but why is our image mask not displaying? What's going on here? Oh, it's opaque. I see. It's transparent. There we go. So if we're gonna hover on, I've got it dark green just so that we can see what's going on here. So the dark green is the default image mask. And select here and then add an initial state where we've got it moved off of screen. So we'll go negative 100% on the x-axis and set this as the initial state. So hover on, we don't need to change anything else. We just need to set that initial state so that the frame is moved off of the screen. And then on hover out, we kind of want to move it back in. Now you won't be able to see that if you're hovering over a new image because that image is going to layer on top. I think. So we'll go image mask. We'll have that move with this one. So this one is 0.5 out court. So we'll set the easing on that. We'll set the position to 0%. And then after all that's done, we need it to move off again. Ooh, this is complicated. Sorry, guys. So we'll go 100% again. And then we need to reposition it back to its original state. So we'll have this set to 0%. And we'll hide it first. And then show it after. Whoa. Ooh. Okay. Okay, so there's the hover on, and then we should see the image of the pond and the image, the dark wipe come through. Okay, not too bad. Right, so let's change the color of this mask back to our gray, tan, cream. Whoa. All right, so we need to match the speed when we move it. Yeah, let's see. So right now we're at a 0.7 second delay, and it's in-out port for our main mask. So we'll go 0.7. In-out port. There it is. Some weirdness if you hover out before the animation's done. I don't know, I kind of like that. The only thing is that there's like this weird delay that's happening. It's pretty snappy between these two things, but then when you hover off and go to the default, there's like that weird delay that's happening there. So this is saying the mask. Oh, it's like a half second to move everything off, and then we start the rest. So I think I need to go put this before, or actually maybe make it this. Whoa, that was crazy. Let's undo that. There we go. It's not bad, but there's literally like this half, like split second delay between when you hover out and when that stuff starts moving. Whereas it's a lot snappier when you go between the two. Okay, we'll figure that out in a minute. Don't go anywhere. I am going to take a quick bio break. We'll be right back. we're back. And the storm's done. And everything's good. All right. Okay. The last thing I want to do with this hover effect is it's feeling pretty good. I'm still weirded out about the delay. But I do agree with you. It is kind of a nice breather. And I don't think anybody's going to really be paying attention if they're trying to just go down here and do something. Right? Click one of those links or something like that. All right. There's one missing component to this, and that is kind of a subtle parallax effect. Maybe not parallax, but I want the images to kind of zoom in. Let's see, we don't need hover out, we need hover. So I want this image to kind of zoom in just slightly as we're wiping it away. Almost like it's settling into place. Let's see if we can do that real quick. So we'll select our image, and we'll add a scale effect. And we want it to happen right as this thing is kind of moving into place. So we'll add it here. We'll add maybe like a 0.3 second delay on that. And make the duration 0.4. Way too much. Maybe 0.5. Just want it subtle, and the delay was definitely not a good option. So we'll do 0 delay. Hey, see ya, A. Appreciate that. Had no idea I did this. Just finished watching the Building a Brand video. Oh, Gabriel, appreciate that over on YouTube. Quick crit today? I think so, actually, because once this menu is done, that'll be the stream. So hang out. We'll switch over there until at like maybe 1 o'clock, maybe 10 after 1. So come on back. All right, let's see. Okay, so that definitely does not work. I'm thinking if let's try this real quick. It's interesting to me that if we don't, let's see, do after, and then only children with this class. Maybe that was it. So whenever I have this set to start with the animations beforehand, we lose the wipe, which is really weird. So let's try this. We'll do after. Maybe we can set a negative delay. Nope. It's really strange because it wipes and then it, yeah, that's. Yeah, that'd be great. Vitality, we'll do that for sure. Okay, let's see. Maybe scaling is the wrong thing to do there. Maybe we need to change that action. Hey, Autumn Light, good to see you. Here we go, size. Do children with this class. I'll have it start with that, and then go 0.7 in output. Right now it's set to 100% width and 100% height, so we'll do maybe like 105%. Okay, that's a good start. At least we're getting both animations. So I guess scale was the wrong thing there. So maybe we add a little bit extra delay and we ease this out for it. We make this a little bit more subtle. Let's try that. What's your issue? Maybe I can help. I'm just trying to get this hover effect down pat. I wanted just a little bit of gonna zoom in of the image inside this container here. Oh, we definitely need to ease it out. It's good to see you again, Autumn Light. Okay, and then on hover out, we need to make sure that we're resetting the size. So we'll go this, and then select our image, add an action to size. Zero on that, and then 100%. Tie those together. Let's try that. Here we go. Yeah, that works. The only weird thing is it looks like it's scaling the size from the top. So I'm thinking that we need to adjust the CSS of the container. Maybe we do display, flex, and then have everything centered. And then we go here, image container, display flex, and then center everything. So that way it grows and shrinks from the middle. Whoa, that's weird. Wonder why it's doing that. Do you see that snap back? Oh, that works. Maybe it was just a glitch. Okay, I'm happy with those hover effects. So let's go to... All right, so we've got our hover effects for the links in the image, and the only thing that we haven't done is our, you know, scrolling text throughout. So that's strange. Okay, we'll fix that in a second. So the next thing that we need to do to the menu is animate it on and off. But that's going to take a little bit more time that I've dedicated here. So I appreciate it, JT. Yeah, I'm happy with the progress here. So since we need to end the stream just a little bit early today, let's move right into critique. So Vitality, if you're ready, head to the waiting room in Discord, and I'll pull you live. All right, so a couple of issues right now because we've included the image inside this link block. Whenever we hover over that area, it's actually detecting the hover effect for the last link because it's on top. So you can see whenever I mouse over the right hand side of the screen, it's detecting that hover. So I think what I need to do is remove a cursor action from this block. So it's just not going to detect any kind of hover. And that's a little bit of custom code, but it's pretty simple. So it's just a little JavaScript that we add to the page. Right on, you're in there. Cool. Okay. Also, let's see, is it posted or critique? All right, very good. So once we fix that, the menu is going to be pretty much good to go. We just need to add that opening and closing interaction. And like I said, that's going to be 2 or 3 hours. I definitely don't want to leave that off in the, just kind of leave that hanging. So we will do that at another time. But I'm really happy with this. And, Webflow interactions and animations, they're so easy for a dope like me to make something pretty cool. Love the designing aspect of it, but I wanted to see if I can leverage that while not wasting my subscription to WordPress. There are plugins that work similar to Webflow. I'm not sure what they are. I think it's Elementor, and there's another one out there that gives you this kind of visual editor. I wouldn't say it's as good, but you could probably use that, JT. All right. Okay, so let's take a quick break and we'll pull Vitality on live. Enter this room. Vitality, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Right on. Awesome. Can you guys hear him?
Hey, how's that going, everybody?
Turn you up just a little bit, as much as my ears can take. All right, so let's go desktop, and we'll go over to critique requests and bring up your case study. Ooh, it's looking cool already. All right, let's go. I'll share my screen in Discord so you can see what I'm seeing.
Sweet.
All right, let me know when
So
you
I
can
was
see that.
checking back in with you. This has been kind of an ongoing critique. So.
Yeah, I remember. I'm pretty sure I complimented your colors. The orange really stands out on the blue, and I think when we started, it was more of like a blog post layout than any kind of like dedicated case study page.
Exactly. And I kind of did a first draft the last couple streams ago, and your comment was it probably needed to be longer.
Yep.
There would need to be more eye candy. So
cool.
This is kind of hopefully getting closer to that.
All right, so here's the case study. We've got this cool like rotating thing here. Where are the numbers? I love that. There we go. All right, so one of my biggest critiques on most case studies is that we want to go and read the headlines just to make sure somebody gets the basic narrative of the case study just from kind of scanning those headlines. So we've got forefront architecture and engineering. That's the client. Creating a user-focused and content-rich experience. Where are the numbers? 200%. You know, I would count this all as scanner material here. 200% website traffic increase, 50 additional pages, 1,000 plus monthly visitors. Holding out for a hero. Solutions for our client. A solution resilient to the market and unique to the industry. Ooh, that's really cool. That little scroll window. I would draw some attention to that because I didn't really see that in the beginning.
Yeah, I looked at a couple other sites and I saw them dropping in full landing pages, and I thought that was a really cool way to kind of show the whole, because it's hard to show the whole flow as you look through. So
yeah, that's really neat. Only critique on that is it might be a little small. And it's hard to notice that's like if I'm not scrolling down the page and I don't like just hit that with my mouse, I may scroll right by it. Okay, but like headlines, they're pretty good. The only ones that I would change are this one, holding out for a hero. I like that. The thing is that like I don't get it. Like it doesn't make sense to me, and it doesn't really like. It's catchy because you've got the alliteration with the H, but it doesn't make me want to read more. Because as like a businessman, like whatever. We'll go move on. This is actually a pretty good headline here. A solution resilient to the market and unique to the industry. So this is the only headline that I would tweak. I love that you're featuring numbers in a big way. And these are huge, right? Any entrepreneur, any business owner or marketing director is gonna love seeing this. They're gonna be like, man, 200%
ROI information.
Yeah.
What are they paying for?
Yep, this is really easy to read. So goals and outcomes, and then impact. So this is great, man. Good job. I other than that one headline, I wouldn't change anything else, and maybe drawing some attention to like that this is a scrollable page, Yeah,
that is new, so I really should kind of highlight that a little bit more.
Great job.
There's a lot of value in that.
Do you have the before? Where's the before?
If you actually go to the menu and go to the journal, you can kind of get a layout for what it really started at. And it's the very last, or I'm sorry, the bottom one.
Yeah, this is where we started. So you notice that it's a massive, massive difference. Yeah, huge improvement going from that to this. Great job, dude.
Thanks so much.
That was an easy critique. Well, very cool.
Charm, right?
That's right. yeah, I would just make those 2 tweaks, and I think you're there. And that's it, man. Good job.
Cool. Thank you so much. And for anyone else I saw in the chat there, this was all made with Elementor.
Oh, right
It's not
on.
full on Webflow, but there are possibilities that you can do with kind of plugins to WordPress.
Yep, there you go. Elementor. Cool. All right, man. Well, thanks. We'll see you next time.
Thanks so much. Yep.
All right, bye-bye. That's cool. Anybody else want to critique? You can definitely jump in the waiting room. I will be live for another maybe 10 minutes or so, depending. Yeah, I'm stoked at that. I love seeing the transformation over time, which is not something that we often get to do. Like, we have a case study kit and we see the results, but it's one of those things where, like, seeing the before and the after, being able to compare the two things side by side is just massive. So good job, dude. All right, see, we got a couple of people in the chat. JT, since you've had a couple of critiques already, I'm gonna go with Justin. I hope that's okay. So Justin, I know you've been waiting for a crit. So we'll get through that one, and then JT, if we have some time, we'll tackle yours. Justin, I'm gonna pull you live. Right, and I'll take a look at the critiques. Let me know when you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Perfect. And we are going to look at the Beach Break Beans case study.
Yeah, the one that's on my. Do you need the link to my site?
Let's probably, because I'm seeing a PDF. Or do you want me to look at Behance?
No, I just sent it to you. The link in a personal message.
Okay. All right. Very cool. All right, so first thing is we have case studies here, but there's only one, dude.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
Well, it's so it's the first case study that I've literally ever done. I usually just do brand decks. So
let me share my screen so that people can see it. All right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and click here. This is our, what is it? Beach Break Beans.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so walk me through it.
So Beach Break Beans was originally a coffee brand that I had kind of saw on Instagram, and I reached out to the guy kind of in a more polite way, and I was like, "Your brand needs help. I can help you." And kind of just started a conversation with them, and ended up developing a pitch of what I think the brand could look like, which was the first kind of initial sketches. And then over the next couple of months, we just kind of back and forth continued changing it and editing it. And his original brand was kind of tribal and kind of Hawaiian, and I was like, okay, like, I don't really get it, but if this is your idea, like, we'll kind of pursue that. And then through the design process, it kind of was just like, okay, like, I don't think this is working for these specific reasons, and I think you should go with something a bit like less tribal and more kind of retro beach theme, like 50s beach theme. Which is kind of how we ended up developing the final images, or the final brand identity.
Very cool. Well, this is a beautiful project, beautiful imagery in your case studies.
Thanks.
So let me ask you, is this an embedded PDF?
These are actually high resolution PNG 24s that I added to the site.
Gotcha. Yep. Okay, cool. So this is a good point here. Just had a calendar. Whenever my calendar notification pops up, I panic because it's like, oh my God, is there a meeting that I forgot about? Did they somehow slip through? All right.
Right.
So let's do site speed test. Let's just take a look at this. We pinged him.
Ah,
I want to illustrate a point here.
so are you checking the responsiveness of the site?
I'm checking the speed.
Gotcha.
Right. So it's not bad, right? So we've got a 84 performance. The load time is 2.44 seconds. So it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Normally, when you have a lot of these like high resolutions like PNGs, your load time is terrible. And the other thing is that like when you embed text inside these images, search engines can't read it. And so there's severe disadvantages and accessibility issues and all this kind of stuff that you want to, especially if you want to do any kind of website work, you want to make sure that you're pulling your text out and embedding it in your actual website. So that's my first bit of critique on this. We want the story to be live text for a bunch of different reasons.
Okay.
But I expected this to fail, and it's not bad. So good job.
Would it be a better option to use WebPs versus PNG24?
It would be better to not have text in the image.
Gotcha.
Because that way, like, let's say I wanted to, zoom in on the type, and I didn't want to change the layout of the page.
Mm-hmm.
I can only take it so far, right? Because the text size is not changing. You can see like this is a normal type size here, and I'm kind of zooming in and out. And so for accessibility reasons, it's not good. But also, if we took a look at the site through the lens of a search engine, none of this text would register. And so if somebody's looking for coffee bean packaging, they're not going to find you. Even if you're like super far down the list, they're not going to be able to find you. So
right, that makes sense.
So JT brings up a good point. Putting the text into the alt text, it does help accessibility, but it's definitely a major negative for SEO and accessibility. So I would put together a template. What are you using to build the site?
I actually use Adobe Portfolios to use.
Okay.
The site.
Gotcha. So that's kind of like a one button press from Behance, right? And then they publish it on the URL. Okay, that's probably why.
Well, I mean, you can go into Adobe Portfolios and completely customize absolutely everything about the site.
Oh, cool.
So it's not just a straight port from Behance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Again, it's not a terrible way to do things, but this is like the first flag that I have for you is that this is going to cause you headaches in the near future.
Gotcha.
But let's say that this text was all live, and we were going through this and reading it as a scanner, right? And so I'm gonna get here. I'm not even gonna look at that stuff. That's too much text for me to read. Way too much text. And so we got initial sketches. All right. Well, those aren't that great. Initial sketches continued. Okay, so now we're starting to get better. And then we're still scanning. That's going to be too much. So I'm missing all the headlines. They're going to cause me to bite down on this thing.
Yeah.
And I know you jumped into the complete case study, and appreciate your feedback on that. One thing that I said in there is that you want the headlines to tell the story. And so if I'm reading your story, Beach Break Beans is a coffee roaster that started production in 2018. The goal was to create a coffee that you brew if you just had a good surf on a sunny day. So one of the headlines that I would do is like a good cup of coffee after a great surf session, and then go into that as their initial motivation.
Right.
So so I would kind of work on your narrative and add in more headlines as we scroll through the piece.
Yeah, readability on mobile is
Yeah, I just noticed somebody was saying that in the chat.
Definitely an issue with these images.
Yep. Okay. As far as your visuals goes, though, I think fantastic.
Thanks.
Like the colored blocks matching the color in the in the mock-up, in the packaging design, I think that you just nailed it. Like, it's great. Now, there are some things that I would change about the actual packaging design, because I think that we do have some hierarchy issue here where I'm not sure where to look. But I think this is more about the case study itself than the actual work. So as far as the mock-ups go, you nailed it. This is great. I love the animated one. Matter of fact, I would probably move this up to the top, because what we want to do here is pull the audience in and hook them with an interesting image. So right there at the top, you want something super special that's going to cause them to scroll through the rest of this thing. So I would move maybe something like that, where it's animating through up to the top. And if you can, swap out this green for something that matches a little bit better. I know it's in here, but so far we've seen kind of warm colors that contrast with the blue of the bag. Mm-hmm. So it feels like the background is competing for my attention with the thing scrolling through. Sure. This is an opportunity. I love that you're showing the old versus the new. There's a little bit of a danger here where the old, somebody might prefer it. So whenever I show old work, I try and make it look as worse as possible. I feel terrible saying that. Why do I feel so bad saying that?
It's totally okay. When I first saw this packaging, it was a shock to my visual senses, and I could not, I was just like, I can't believe somebody's using this for their packaging.
Yeah. But, somebody designed this, so I hate to downplay this, but in my mind, this, because it's so bold and pink and stuff, it's drawing so much of my attention. And then this is sophisticated. It's blends into the case study. It matches, and that's great. But what I would do is maybe find a different image to use here, and it'd be really cool. And I know that web might not be your first language, but it'd be really cool to have kind of like that slider thing where you have two images laid on top of each other, and you can kind of see the old peeking out. And then when you move the slider, you can actually view the old piece of packaging. And then right there, front and center, is your new beautiful piece of packaging. So this either do something kind of cool and interactive with that, or make your packaging stand out with one of your beautiful mock-ups.
I thought about doing something like that, and because this is run through Adobe Portfolios, there's definite limiting on what I can drop in as widgets or iframe. Yeah, I'd have to find a better way to kind of do that, I guess.
At a minimum,
maybe just a video.
Yeah, and maybe at a minimum, just go, hey, let's put a better, a mock-up in a scene here, and then have this in a smaller frame that's a little bit downplayed.
Yeah.
I would also find some way to make these old and new a little bit more apparent, because if they're under the image, and this is basically right in the middle of all of your outcome, right? So this is all the things that we created for Beach Break Beans. And then you've got this, which is right in the middle. So it's like, if they miss this little caption below the image, they might think that you designed this, and then they're going to be like, ooh, close,
Fair enough.
So I think that transformation might be better served up here, where it's like, here's the attention grabbing image, here's the summary, and then the next is the before and after.
Sure.
Let's see. Because you have a ton of really strong stuff, I would remove this band here. So if somebody's looking for web design, there's a couple of web crimes here. Mainly, this is probably not accessible color combination here. It's hard to read. And then we've got some centering issues on the buttons, and the layout is just a little bit dated. And so this is really where you can curate the thing that you're strongest at, which in this case, I would say is the packaging. So just focus in on the packaging, and I think that, the case study would be stronger with this part cut out.
Gotcha. Yeah. I was trying to give more of a feel of like, this is what it would look like on their website when you're actually purchasing the product. And I mean, where there's a need for that, I don't think that it really plays a role in the case study.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess I didn't really think of it that way before.
Yeah. All right. So then the last little bit is, I would differentiate these logos from these guys here. Because was this your work? Was this your...
The final, well, okay, so the very first image is not mine. That's the original logo.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last 5 were like, so yeah, where I first started, and then kind of just refining from there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that like it's pretty clear that these are initial sketches. I would maybe rephrase this into, or reword this as like initial exploration, because when I read that, I was looking for sketches and I didn't see it. So I was like, wait, is this the final? Is this what am I looking at here?
Well, and that kind of goes back to the conversation that we were having on Circle SO, is that because I don't actually like physically sketch out a lot of the designs that I do, most of it is always done in Illustrator. Without showing the entire artboard and like all of the different variations, it's hard for me to show that flow of sketch work.
Yeah. I totally agree. The other thing though is that you can go back and make it up. There's no shame in that. The goal here is to create a great case study, so you can, like, even if it's really rough thumbnail sketches, you can put that in here. And what I was kind of aiming towards is like, we have surf then coffee, do more design, which I can tell that this is like a PowerPoint deck. We go through and there's like, we see the logo here, but we're not sure of what this is because there's really no description. And then we get to this, and this is the first work that we're really seeing. So I think that like moving that attention grabbing image up top, moving the before and after image up top, will help prevent any confusion as to what this is. Because obviously, these are initial explorations, they didn't make the cut, and this is much, much, much better. The other thing is that like, somebody in the chat said like, next to the original image, put like numbers. I wouldn't use numbers, but I would definitely maybe put arrows. Definitely maybe. Throw some arrows in there so that you can actually see the transitions, like this to
kind
this,
of like
to this.
guiding it downwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then next to this, you could highlight this in something else where it says final or something like that.
That makes sense.
And I think that's it, man. I think that there's some work to do, but as far as like the mock-ups, as far as the overall design, the aesthetic is great. I think you just got some copywriting to do, and then you're going to be in great shape.
You said there were some hierarchy kind of issues with the actual package design?
Yeah. So if I were creative directing this, I would probably ask you, what is priority here? And a lot of times, like when we work on the logo, and we fought this, I personally fought this with the Hamilton Family Brewery project, is that we want to make that logo as possible. The problem is that I'm not sure where to look first. So what would be the priority here?
I mean, I would say for the packaging, the priority is the name Beach Break Beans. Everything else is, I mean, obviously the Omni Roast Bara Tijuca is like the brand of the coffee, but that's still supporting in role as to the main name of the company and the main logo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I would just use space and position to communicate what's most important. I hope that makes sense, because the worst thing that I could do here is give you suggestions as to what to do with the layout But I think that like, if you think of somebody coming in here, they view this entire thing as one thing. I mean, it's all using the same text. The word bara is almost the same size as beans. So I'm just not sure what to look at here.
Right.
And the big circular illustration draws my eye in first, but then I just kind of get lost. So I think spending some time on like take everything off and then add one piece back at a time and see where it's like, okay, now we're looking at something that's like a little bit overwhelming.
I think part of it is, and I don't disagree with you. I think part of it is most of my career I've done like label designs for beer cans and like spirits labels, and so I'm often like trying to lead the eye downwards. And so that's kind of what I tried to do with this label as well, is leading with Amsterdam and just flowing it down to Brazil at the end, or what have you.
It makes total sense, and I'm not like, again, this is just if I were creative directing this thing, or creative directing this project. That's the feedback that I would give you, is that like, let's take 2 more cracks at this and see if we can improve the hierarchy, like where your eye goes first and then second, and if that sequence is immediately apparent to somebody.
Definitely.
Because things get lost, like the beautiful Amsterdam typeface that's used there. I really like that, like monoline cursive kind of thing, and then the handwritten origin down there. Like they just get completely lost because everything else is so in your face. So that's it's kind of like there's a lot of good things going on here. But there's so much that like you have to stare at it to really see it.
Gotcha. That definitely makes sense.
Cool. All right, man. Well, I hope that helped.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna go rework this now.
Cool. Well, come on back when you do, and we'll go over it again.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Right on. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, JT, let's pull you into stream chat real quick. Got about 7 minutes before I gotta run. JT, can you hear me? You're muted, by the way, in Discord.
Yeah, I had to mute the Twitch so I don't get an echo. Can you hear
All
me
good.
okay?
Yeah, you're coming in loud and clear. Guys on in chat, can you guys hear? Hey, Kath, how are you? Van Talen, hello. Prasha says these live streams are really good to watch. Thanks, appreciate that. Yeah. All right, man, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so JT Represents, this is the company website. This is not the personal one I'm about to do later today, but this will come right after. JT Represents, I mentioned before, it's like a design service provider.
Okay.
And it's an art museum. So I wanted to get critiques in it before doing some redesigning, just to see what works, what doesn't work, and how to communicate its value a little bit better.
Cool. All right, so I'm gonna resize this to a normal resolution so that we get kind of an accurate portrayal of what we're seeing here. All right, so walk me through the site.
Yeah, so on the front page when you first get there, I treat it almost like a sales tactic where the main messaging we have is, do you have a voice? Well, let's elevate it. And there's the booking right then and there, because I wanted to make the journey to setting up any services as quick as possible. And then following up that would be small bits about some of the services that we have, view our work. And if you scroll a little bit down, it talks about the projects that the profits from these services help fund. Which is really the core of what we do. We build creative community service projects, but we offer design services to help fund that. And then below it is a little bit of about us, kind of talking about the story. It's a quote that I had a long time ago. And then if you click on the about us, that just gives you like the history of the story for anyone who wants to know more about the background. Cool. So that's the layering strategy I'm thinking about. It's like, for someone who knows what they want, here's my contacts right then and there. There's the booking button. go for it. For anybody who wants to know more or see the work, they can click see the work, and it takes you straight to, now this, someone had told me to make the journey to see the work short as well. So when you view the work, you see all the services from visual branding, photography, and video and live stream, which are the 3 services we have. And those are the case studies. And again, right then and there, the button to, book a consultant or come talk to us. And if you click on any of the tiles, it shows you, I mimic it similar to Behance, where you have a banner of the work itself, a small blurb about what that client is and does and what value do they bring to society. And then below that is a carousel banner that shows you just some of the finished materials or some works in the process of that experience. And then the credits are in the bottom.
Okay, cool.
I keep that formula for each of them. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so can you see my screen in Discord?
That is what I am trying to access now.
Okay, cool.
Here we go.
All right. So first, this how can I help? Like, give me something to bite down on as far as like a critique or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot I can talk about, but it would help to focus in on like one thing.
I think the biggest thing that would be helpful to me is the communication aspect. Like, what's your take on even understanding this brand when you visit the site? Gotcha.
Okay, cool. All right, so we help people and brands elevate their voice. As far as the messaging goes on that, I'm not really sure what that means. I think that it's so broad. Like, literally you're saying, we help every single brand in the world elevate their voice, but also we help every single person in the world elevate their voice. And so I'm really not sure where I would stand if I were a potential customer or anything like that, because right here it's like this is your opportunity to position yourself with and away from different brands. Does that make sense? So going through your site, it's like, well, you work with artists, really, right? Like, you work with mainly, let's see, work projects, artistic projects. Let's see, where can I view your? Here's this one. Okay, so this is a case study, right?
These aren't case studies. These are the community service projects I talked about.
Okay. All right. So I think that the main thing here is that you can right here where I'm coming from. It's like, I don't know what you do because it's so to determine at first glance. So it may feel like I'm not giving time and effort into reading into this thing. But it's like, I'm lost. Imagine that your users are going to be equally lost. So I think right up front, we need to decide what we are and what we're doing. Because this is so broad that it's really difficult for me to figure that out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's coming a little bit clearer to me now, because like the best way I can describe it is that it's like one of your large art museums if they offer business.
Mm-hmm.
That could even be the opening statement at the front. Like, we are an art museum that offers design service.
That sounds amazing. Yeah. And so what I would want to see at your navigation, like the work and projects, those two things really mean the same thing to me. And I would want a very clear way to differentiate the two. So it's like,
maybe projects could be community then.
Yeah, I think
because that's what those are for. They're for the community, and then the work is the services themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would actually just put services there. Maybe like services or capabilities, where like this is the service work, and then you put gallery or museum or something like that here, where you talk about the community-driven thing. I think community is a great word for the effect that you have. But as far as somebody looking to work with you, community is going to be pretty vague as well. And we haven't even really dropped into the store yet either. So you see what I'm saying? There's so much going on. There's so much information for me to digest. We have to make it easier for the user. So what I would do is like, think about the website as if you're pitching this to someone completely cold, which I was going into this. And you're going to sit them down and you're going to say, here's what this is. It's a XYZ. And here's what we can do for you. But then here's also what we do for our community. And maybe that's like services, museum or gallery. And then the next thing is impact, because you really don't need an about page. I think if you have an about page, you know, it's the whole website should be about you, you know? So I think that like avoiding the about page and talking specifically about what people can gain from working with you, or what the community gains from you existing. So it's like, I would restructure your nav to reflect services, gallery, impact, store, and cart. You know what I mean?
That clears up a lot. Yeah, that helps a lot.
And then right here, this great that you have a call to action. But the thing is that I don't know what an appointment means. Like, I don't know what that entails. So yeah, a hair appointment, like to get my nails done. Like, I don't know, you know? So it's like, I'm definitely not going to click on that. You have to, I forget what the UX term for this, maybe somebody in the chat can fill in, but you need to be able to give people assurance and give them a preview of what is coming next after they click this. Like, I know I'm going to be booking something, but I have no idea what that is.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I would give people a little bit more context before we jump right into the book an appointment. Now you can throw this up top here. Like, this would be a good button to put at the top of your nav, maybe in this like right corner, and then use this to nurture that visitor.
I have a question about that in regards to the navigation, because I think I have that same. Let me check. I have that button in my footer as well, because I would imagine if while they're scrolling, if they want to, I would imagine it's already down. I put one. I think it would be helpful to put in both the footer and the menu, or is that too much?
No, I think see, start consultation is a little bit even clearer. But I think adding the CTA up here and in the footer is totally fine.
Okay. Yeah. So then for consistency, I'll do that.
Okay. Cool.
And then, that was it. Never mind.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Yeah. And circle back around when you get that kind of stuff ironed out. I would literally start. I noticed that you had a picture of you mind mapping. I would literally start there. Like, pull open a sketchbook like this and then walk someone through the presentation, and I think you'll net out a better result.
Awesome, will do. Thank you
cool,
so
man.
much.
All right, well, it was good to talk with you again.
Likewise, you'll see me more often.
Right on. Well, cool.
All right.
All right. Dude. Thanks. Bye. Well, cool, guys. That was really, really interesting. Some good critiques here, and I'm glad that we were able to jump in. I am running late for something, so let us pull in. Let's do a raid today. What do we think? Go to Twitch. I think AA is streaming. Yeah, we'll definitely raid A. For those of you guys on YouTube, you can't come with me. I'm so sorry. Usually when we raid on Twitch, we take everyone over to someone else's channel, and it's a wonderful feeling for a streamer to just get a bunch of viewers all at once. So that's so good. No about page. Yeah, it's true though. It's like if it's your website, the entire website is about you. So all right, we'll head over to AA. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Next time, if I don't finish the menu before the stream, we'll kind of branch into some other more advanced interactions. Maybe we'll fix the noise on the site. Maybe we'll start branching into the dark mode, something cool like that. So we'll get it done. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.